Hello, hello, and welcome to another EITC webinar. This one for June 5th, 2026. I'm David Cory with the Emotional Intelligence Training Company, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at it, and I think about this a lot. What are the beliefs that drive behavior? And it, when I create a webinar, what I like to do is I like to come up with a title. That always motivates me. And so to have that title, I thought, what about the top 5 beliefs that undermine leadership effectiveness? So I got the title first, and then I went looking, and I found all kinds of interesting things. I found an article that from Harvard Business Review that I'm going to show you what they figure the top 7 beliefs are that undermine leadership effectiveness. Then I found another article that talked about 55 beliefs that I just thought, wow, there are so many beliefs that undermine leadership effectiveness, maybe support leadership effectiveness, and I just thought it would be really interesting to explore some of those beliefs and have you talk with each other about some of those beliefs. And so, rather than just tell you what I came up with, I thought that the first thing that we would do is to see what list you would create if you were to create a list with each other. So I'm going to send you off into some breakout rooms and have you tackle this question. What beliefs about leadership have you encountered that you think undermine leadership effectiveness? And we'll have you create a bit of a list, and then we'll have you come back and we'll discuss your list, and then we'll look at what I came up with when I took a look around and give you some of my thoughts. We'll of course relate it to the EQI model of emotional intelligence, which we always do, and see how that can help us understand more about these beliefs, maybe understand how we could possibly rethink some of these beliefs in light of EQ competencies. And so we'll do that when we come back. But for now, I'm going to send you off for maybe a good 10 minutes and have you think with some of your colleagues about some of the beliefs that you maybe have encountered or you've seen over the course of your career or you've seen with your clients, etc. Welcome back. So let's talk about some of those beliefs that you came up with in your discussions with your colleagues. What were some of those beliefs? Anybody?
Well, our group, I'll step in. This is John.
Thanks, John.
Our group really identified lack of psychological safety is a big one. Um,
How is that a belief, John?
I'm sorry.
How is it a belief? Is
How's
is
it?
it that just is it that people don't believe psychological safety is important or they don't?
I don't think they recognize the degree of
Okay.
importance it plays in really developing a culture of safety for the benefit of the organization or their leadership. So,
Right.
um, overconfidence and micromanagement.
Mm,
Is
absolutely.
not developing trust within the team. Um, and then there was another one about uh, difficulty, the belief of the importance of feedback, both ways to your
Yeah.
team and from your team. So I'll just pause at those.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. What else? What else? What else?
Hi, David. Vanessa here.
Hi, Vanessa. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Always a pleasure. This is a collective comment from my group. I was working with Donna and Andrea, and one of the things that we looked at is that leaders believe that they always have to be available and accessible for their employees. And there was quite
Right.
a robust discussion around that. Because that does undermine effectiveness in the ways that the leader, as Andrea said, is unable to do that deeper thinking because they're always kind of in the hamster wheel of dealing with everything. So we felt that was undermined leadership effectiveness. You have to get out of the weeds and let your people do their work, and also hold your sacred time sacred to do your deeper work. as that higher level leader that is trying to move the organization in a more strategic direction.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Yes. What else? What else came up?
It was Francine and I, and we both noticed that the leaders, the president, and then she had a president in the company. I had a supervisor in a government position, but the belief from them that they couldn't share their whole self. That they had to be the professional person at work, and almost compartmentalize. And then over time, actually, both people that we talked about through EQ assessments, at least on my end with my client, is they realized that it was not going to be looked at as a lack of leadership if they allowed some of their personality to come in. And so we had that conversation. And I don't know if Francine wants to add any more than I just shared.
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, let's, unless somebody else wants to add another one.
David, one of the things that we discussed was the belief that the leader always has to have the answers, that there's a kind of arrogance or superiority around that
Yes.
they can't say I don't know, because that creates vulnerability and never really feeds the ego, I guess.
Yes. Thanks, Laurel. Absolutely. Yeah, let's take a look at again this Harvard Business Review article first of all, and see how it lines up with some of the things that you talked about, and then again some other things as well. So this is from an HBR article. The one of the beliefs is the belief that I need to be involved in everything. And I think you kind of made reference to this, right? It's like the organization, nothing happens without me. And as someone who started a small business, I totally get that. The hardest thing for me to do when we started adding people to the company was to not be involved in everything. And as a result, I became a bottleneck. I became the thing that held up everything from moving forward efficiently and effectively. So I totally get this one. And of course, we know it with the fancy name of micromanagement, and it really is not efficient. We have to be able to get out of our own way as leaders, and we learn and realize that we don't need to be involved in everything. Here's another one. I need it done now. That kind of false sense of urgency, which might do with a healthy dose of reality testing. Many of these beliefs, by the way, will be kind of remedied, addressed with a healthy dose of reality testing. And I know I'm right. There's that superiority, right? That one that where the belief is that the leader is the one with all the answers for everything, and of course it's just not possible. It can't work that way. I can't make a mistake. And this is, there's probably some perfectionism mixed in there. And just again, some of these, many of these, in some cases, are connected to a more traditional view of leadership and who leaders are and what they do and what their role is in the organization. Um, if I can do it, so can you. Kind of the idea of why can't people tolerate the stress? People seem stressed out. I don't know what that's all about. They don't understand people. Um, I can't say no. And I think this was referenced as well. And maybe this is connected to that available at all times idea. I have to be able to deal with whatever my employees need me to deal with. So that's an interesting one. I don't belong here. There's that imposter syndrome, which is a bit of a newer or not necessarily connected with a traditional view of leadership. And this is where that comes from, this hidden beliefs that hold leaders back, a 2025 article. So those are 7 from HBR. And the 5 that I came up with, I kind of came up with from experience coaching leaders and working with leaders in the field and encountering these beliefs. And so I want to take a look at those. And again, I want to suggest just a quick review of the model. I think most of you here on the call are familiar with this model. But if you're not familiar with this model, this is the basis, the foundation for the world's leading assessment tools for emotional intelligence, the EQI 2.0 and the EQ 360. And this is the model that was originally created by Dr. Reuven Bar-On in the early 80s, was updated in 2011 to form the current model. And it consists of 15 emotional skills divided up into 5 categories of skills. And so we're going to take a look at some of these with relation to some of these beliefs. Here's one: the leader knows best. And this, we've already kind of referenced this in a couple of different ways. And I thought, what would it sound like if you heard someone saying that? And it might sound like, if I wanted your input, I would have asked for it. If you've ever heard that, that's the one where, I will tell you how things are going to go, and I will tell you how how we're going to work this out. I'm going to tell you the solutions to all your problems, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, what would be some of the EQ competencies that where this person might actually score high, but it's not really functioning well for them? And I thought, maybe they're really good at assertiveness, so they're going to tell you. If I wanted your input, I would have asked for it. They may operate a little bit more independently as a result. They may rate themselves relatively highly on self-regard, but again, their reality testing might not be there. So you might see a bit of a lower reality testing. And certainly lower empathy, because knowing that people want to be involved, they want to be asked, they have information and knowledge and expertise to contribute when given the opportunity. And so again, a bit of a traditional belief, a traditional notion of leadership here. This one, emotions don't belong in the workplace. And if I did a little survey, a little poll to ask how many of you have heard this, I'm sure that there'd be a lot of hands going up for this one. This is a traditional notion that emotions don't belong in the workplace. And I found this online. Real bosses don't let their emotions get in the way of business. And this is serious. This person, who is a leadership development person, they did not post this ironically. They posted this seriously, and so that's what they believe, and it's a very traditional notion of leadership in the workplace. So I thought, I recall vividly a senior executive who happened to be a woman, and she said, "In our company, you die before you cry. That is, you do not show emotions." And I thought, wow. When I heard that, it was just, my response was just, wow. What do you say to that? And I thought, what would someone who holds that belief, what might they score higher in on the EQI? Well, maybe it's self-regard. Maybe they would rate themselves quite highly on self-regard. Maybe assertiveness as well. And maybe stress tolerance, because again, that's kind of a traditional notion in the workplace, is that the leader has to be able to tolerate all kinds of stress. And many of them do, and don't understand why people aren't able to tolerate the same level of stress themselves. What might they score low on? Well, maybe it's all the emotion, the ones where emotions are really central to the competency, things like emotional self-awareness, maybe a little bit lower emotional expression, empathy, and these might be real challenges for them. Another one is this one: employees are weak. If you can't read what it says in the image, it says sweat dries, blood clots, bones heal. Suck it up, princess. again, a very traditional notion of work, of the workplace, of the way things should go. And I don't know if you've met leaders like this, but they believe employees are weak and they have to be strong for everybody, and they wonder, why can't everyone be more like me? And just a real difficulty with things like empathy and maybe reality testing. What they might rate themselves high on is self-regard and stress tolerance as a result. So there's that one. And then there's the belief we've always done it this way. And the little name tag, hello, I'm leaving my comfort zone. It's comfortable to do things the way we've always done it. I would think someone would be very risk averse. And it might sound like they might say something like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what might they score high in? Well, again, high to the point of ineffectiveness, impulse control, where they just don't take action. So there's lots of reasons to change how things are done, but they're not going to move on it. So high impulse controlled and maybe high independence. Maybe they just don't work well in collaboration with others. As a result of that high independence. So it's a high independence working against them. What might they score lower on? Well, maybe stress tolerance, maybe flexibility, kind of inflexible, might be low in optimism. So if we try something new, what if it doesn't work out? What's that going to mean? And then finally, problem solving as well. Here's one. I am entitled to privileges based on my status within the organization, but you are not. And then so they might say something like, I have earned my perks. And I was showing this to Jill last night, and she said, perquisite? What's a perquisite? That's what perk is short for, is perquisite. And I realize that some of you may not have seen that word before either, because we generally talk about perks as perks, but they are perquisites. So what might someone score high in if they feel entitled or privileged? They might score high in self-regard or assertiveness. What might they score low in? Maybe empathy, reality testing. Okay, so what if we were to rate these in the affirmative? Uh, again, I showed this to Jill last night. She said, "Why do you always ask questions in the negative? Why do you ask, for the top 5 beliefs that lead to ineffectiveness? What about the top 5? Why not put it in the affirmative, in the positive, and talk about it like what would be the belief that would support effective leadership?" I thought that's a good question. Let's do that. I'm going to send you off into breakout rooms for this one. And I am going to ask you to tackle some of these beliefs. I'm going to post them in the breakout room. And I'm going to ask you, how would you turn this around? And turn this into a more positive way of thinking about what would be the affirmative, appreciative, supportive beliefs that support effective leadership. I'm going to send you off to breakout rooms and then post the slide. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's hear what you came up with. So let's talk about leader knows best. How would we frame this in a way? What could a belief be about who leaders are, what they do, that would be, more supportive?
So we had a few on those. We had leaders open-minded and willing to listen,
Mm-hmm.
or something along the lines of leader knows that everyone has something to contribute.
Yes. Excellent. What about emotions don't belong in the workplace? How might we what might we how might we reword that or modify that belief?
Emotions are a source of information that guide us as to what's going on.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah. Anything else? I had emotions are weak, and then I thought emotions are strong. It's kind of the opposite, but it also is a hard one to really implement this idea that emotions are strong. Emotions are strong, but that's not a great kind of way of turning that around. But I did like what you said, Manuel. Thank you for that.
We had
Uh,
discussed, oh, I'm sorry.
sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Self-awareness belongs in the workplace
Yes.
and a responsible expression of emotions.
Yes. Like the responsible part.
I think someone in our group said emotions are a source of information about what's going on.
Yes, absolutely, Catherine. Thank you for that. Yeah. How about this this idea that employees are weak?
We said something along the lines of every person brings strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. What about we've always done it this way? What's a better belief than that?
Honoring the work that's gotten us this far and being open to add on or to redirect as we're moving forward, but not to negate. I think that sometimes what people feel
Right.
that they
Yes.
what we've done so far, that was no good. I think honoring what is and being open for change.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Monica. Appreciate that. Yeah, what about the final one? I'm entitled to privileges that you are not.
Yes, we got stuck on that one.
Okay, thank you, Pierre. I appreciate the honesty there. Okay,
Mhm.
so I've had more time to think about this, and actually Jill was involved in this as well, coming up with these turnarounds. So what about all of us are better than one of us for the first one? I kind of like that idea. And what about in for number two? Emotions are critical in the workplace, and I loved some of the other things that you said as well about emotions being sources of information, important, critical sources of information, etc. And what about instead of employees are weak, we take care of each other, we watch out for each other, we have each other's back, we support each other. Any kind of a belief which is about the belief in people. And then with respect to the one about about never doing anything different, how can we do this better? How can we make this better? How can we um, uh, learn more about this and be more efficient, like this idea of continuous improvement. How can we implement and have this belief in continuous improvement? And then finally, in response to do as I say, uh, uh, not what I do, do as I do, lead by example, and have that kind of belief. Um, all right. One final a final breakout room that I'm going to send you off to, and it really is to just chat with one other person about what you want to take away from today, and just for a quick 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and wrap up. Okay, welcome back. So let's hear from a few of you. What is something that you're wanting to take away from today's conversations and discussion about beliefs?
Well, I'll go then. Gosh, I had Andy. It turns out he went to Royal Roads where my niece went, and I couldn't see you when I flew into Vancouver in Thanksgiving. David, this is so appropriate because I'm putting together a women's leadership program in coaching, and so as I told Andy, I'm taking away the whole entire thing.
Excellent, excellent. Take it,
You know, it
please.
really is resonating with words to stimulate, the leaders. That, oh, this is me, and I don't want to be like this. What do
Yes.
I need to do? So thank you. Timely, timely, timely.
Awesome. Thanks, Carmen. What else? What is something, an insight, an observation that you had as a result of today? Please, anybody. Shannon.
Remember that there's always another perspective, and in these breakout sessions, it's interesting to hear what people heard and how they responded and what struck a chord for them. And so remember there are always other perspectives and be curious about them.
Yes, we'll send you a link to the recording. Send all of you a link to the recording, so you can, if you weren't able to join us from the start, you can play it back. Anything else? What else?
I think it's always great to be with this practitioner community, and sometimes I can't make the sessions, David. And whenever I can slide in, it just helps me level set that and learn new things from the people in the group that I always find very beneficial. And everything that you usually do is a great reminder. And you've got such deep knowledge in this practice, and we I think, speaking for myself, I really just appreciate the sharing of that.
Thanks, Vanessa. I appreciate that. Okay, so to sum up, I think it's fascinating that what someone believes determines to some extent their EQ. I think this is a fascinating thing, and where we see it frequently in our practice is working with men who believe that they got to be tough and they got to be strong and they got to be a traditional leader, and it's like, whoa, no, no, no. And I think I may have mentioned to some of you previously, one of the items that I'm always interested in is when I'm sad, I talk to people about it. And when people don't say five, it's like, okay, so do you realize that there may be a belief that's in operation here? And we take a look at it, and I'm always so surprised when people, it doesn't have to be a male, when people say, I don't want to burden anybody, I don't want to, put people out, or, yeah, I don't want to share what's going on for me. And we can't get support if we can't reach out and do that. And so when people hear that they may be setting themselves up for mental health issues, or this idea that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, that they may be suffering as a result of their own inaction, there might be something there. Again, what people believe. Sometimes we need to investigate that, and we need to remind people that all beliefs were made up. And of course, there are beliefs that we choose to believe on faith. There's no supporting evidence, but we choose to believe it anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just really understanding how these beliefs are serving us, or potentially not serving us. So on that note, I will thank all of you for joining us today. Wish you a wonderful rest of your day today, and look forward to the next time our paths cross.